Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In this video we are going to talk about the basics of CSS property, for which here I am in text editor, and this is the general structure of HTML document which has heading that tells us about our first property, that is CSS display property. Now I'll be adding some content on which we can apply display property. So here I am adding first heading which says hello world, and I will add one more heading which will say welcome, and then we will apply display property on this. So done with the headings, and now in the style tag I'm going to apply CSS. So here I'm writing h2 in the style tag, and I'm going to set first property which is background color. The reason behind setting the background color is this will give you better understanding of display property. So after refreshing you can see this is by default space occupied by heading tag. The color shows the default space, and if you want to change the color you can also use color picker from the text editor. And now I'm going to specify second property, that is display property, for which I'm writing display and then colon, and then I'm writing block. So after refreshing you can see there is no change because heading tag is a block element itself. Now I'm changing the width, and after refreshing you can see the width has changed drastically. And similarly I'm going to change height, and I'm going to set it as 100 pixels, and after refreshing you can see this is the final output. So display as block means your every element will be on new line, and you can change the height and width for it. So that's all about display as block. Now let's change display as block to something else. So here I'm going to type display as inline, and let's see what it gives. So here I'm typing display as inline, and let's remove height and width for now. And after refreshing you can see that all the elements are in one single line, that is they are inline. And if I make display as block again, which I'm doing here, display as block, so you can see this element will be on different line, that is on new line. So this is the major difference between display as inline and display as block, that in inline elements occupy only required space, not whole line. Now let's try to change the width and height. So here I'm saying width as 200 pixels and height as 200 pixels. And let's refresh the web page again. So you can see there is no difference. So this is the drawback of display as inline. You can't change width and height when you say display as inline, because they occupy only required space and you can't remove or add extra space. Now let's try to change display to something that will combine the advantages of display as inline and display as block, which is display as inline block. So here I am changing display to inline block, and let's refresh the web page, and you can see the output is the combination of previous two outputs, and you can change height and width, and elements are in one line. So this is all about display property. Now moving towards the next property that we are going to discuss today, which is CSS position property, for which I have div tag, and in that div tag I have heading which says hello world. So div tag is used to create a box, outer box, for which I have defined border using shorthand property, and then I have defined height and width for it separately. Similarly I have created box for heading, and I have defined properties for it as well. So this will give you the better understanding of CSS position property. So CSS position property is used to define the position of an element in an HTML document, and its values are reserved keywords. So here for div tag I am writing position as static, and after refreshing you can see there is no change in the output because this is the default value of position and you can't change it to left, right, etc. And this means the position will be according to normal flow of HTML document. Now let's change the position for heading tag, and I'm writing position as relative, and then I'm going to specify left as, let's say, 30 pixels. So here I'm typing 30 pixels, and let's refresh the web page, and you can see the inner box has shifted towards the right by 30 pixels. And for this shift, the inner box has took the reference of its normal previous position. So here you can see this is the normal position of our inner block, and when I say left as 30 pixels, from that normal position now it has shifted by 30 pixels. So this is about position as relative. Now let's change position to absolute, that is the next keyword we have. And when we say position as absolute, the nearest position ancestor is taken as reference, which is outer box here. And if I say right as 50 pixels, which I'm doing here, you can see the drastic shift towards the right. This is because the right side of the outer blocks and right side of the inner blocks now has the distance of 50 pixels, and now I'm making it 80 pixels. So this is about position as absolute, which means the nearest position ancestor is reference here. Now let's change it to left, and after refreshing again, you can see the distance between the left of outer box and left of inner box is now 80 pixels. So this is all about position as absolute. Now let's set the position for top as well. So here I'm specifying top as 20 pixels, and the distance between the top of outer box and inner box is now 20 pixels. So here we are done with position as absolute basics. Now let's change the position to fixed, that is the last reserved value we have. And here you can see the viewport is taken as the reference. So even if you scroll the page or do anything, it is going to remain fixed and it's not going to change. So here we are done with positions, and now let's discuss about the CSS float property. So CSS float property is used to format the text and its position. So here I have created a heading which is hello world, and it has borders so that you can understand the property in a better way. And now I'm saying float as left, and after refreshing the web page you can see the position of box has been affected. Now let's change the left to right. So float as right, and after refreshing the web page you can see it has moved towards the extreme right. So this is what float property is. Now let's bring it back to the left, and here we are done for today's video. Thank you for watching the video till the end. If you have any doubts, feel free to ask them in the comment section below. Also, if you